candidates in the election, I was only at 51% of the vote. 51%.
Co-parenting is fun. Never stops. All right. Make sure my phone's off.
Hi, Katie. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No need to apologize. You're on time.
I made it.
Good evening. I'm calling this meeting to order. Welcome to August 15th, City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Our first item on the agenda is our invocation and pledge allegiance to the flag that will be led by our City Attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we lift our most heartfelt prayers for the residents of Lahaina, for those on this night that are still waiting for word of their loved ones, and for those who have already heard the worst. We pray that those who are healing from their injuries in body or mind. We pray for those still unaccounted for. We pray for all the families whose histories have been forever altered by the effects of this fire. Provide us with your compassion, uphold us with your love, and keep us and all who suffer in your sight. In this we pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom, for that. Very nice. Our first item on the agenda is our Oldsmar Citizens Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and be limited to 5 minutes to speak on any subject. Please state your name and address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and speak? All right, then we're going to close the Oldsmar Citizens Open Forum. Our next item on the agenda is the community minutes, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Community Minute, know your evacuation zone to help make decisions about the safety of yourself and your family when mandatory evacuations are ordered. Oldsmar is either evacuation zone A or B. Mobile home park residents are also impacted. Visit the Pinellas County Zone site to find your zone and discover evacuation routes and local shelters. Veterans Wall applications. Applications for engraving on Oldsmar's Veterans Wall are due by Friday, September 8th. This is a wonderful opportunity to recognize a current or past Oldsmar resident who served in the United States Armed Forces. Please contact the city clerk's office if interested. Volunteers needed. Volunteer with the city and promote opportunities to your neighbors. The city has 4 different activities where you can help before and after a tropical storm or a hurricane event, including be a social media ambassador, pledge to plan, assist with sandbag operations, and debris removal. New art exhibit now through Tuesday, September 19th at Oldsmar City Hall. The community is invited to explore the Florida-themed exhibit of creations by members of the Florida chapter of the Women's Caucus for Art. Citizens Academy registration is now open for the class of 2023. Courses will be held on Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 9 p.m. from September 7th to November 2nd. It's a great way for Oldsmar citizens and businesses to learn more about how their government works through hands-on activities and lectures. If interested, please call the city clerk's office.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that wonderful update. Next item is approval of additional new agenda items. We have one item, it's item 6. I need a motion.
So moved to add item 6.
Thank you. Second? I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our consent docket. This will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Consent docket. Item 1, approve minutes of the August 1st, 2023 council meeting. Item 2, approve payment to legal counsel for July 2023 legal services. Item 3, award contract for category 2 and 3 of 2023-002 RFQ, General Professional Engineering Services to Jones, Edmonds and Associates, Inc. Item 4, approve purchase of cloud-based telephone platform from Vonage under the pricing terms and conditions of the Omnia Partners Contract R200803.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull anything? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion, how about a second?
Second?
A motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is our presentation from the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association. And Vince, will you be doing that? Welcome.
Okay. So thank you very much. We have been on a journey and have news to report to you as to the progress that we're making. Melissa, of course, is going to help me with this. She's instrumental in what we've been able to do here. I call this a journey because you have watched us work and attempt to do good for the city here. And I believe we've come to a point in time where we understand what we need to do next, and we want to update you on that. So, is this for me to do? Oops.
Too far.
All right. I'm the technology guy, by the way. All right, so a little bit about who we are. So our goal, quite simply, is to make life better in Oldsmar, make it more creative, make it a thriving community. We partner with families, businesses, and visitors inside of the city. We are a bit different than other not-for-profits, as I explained the other night at the budget meeting. Our mission is to work expressly with the city here. So when we look at the city's priorities, we are the next step on that public-private partnership in order to be able to take it to the next step here. So everything that we do, we gauge ourselves by our ability to implement and work with the priorities of the city here, all right? The mission, if you look at our 501c3 filing, is expressly to lessen the burden of government inside of the city, all right? So we're watching very closely and actually are learning. I'll thank Felicia repetitively here for guidelines as we move through this, but we are continuously looking for ways to lessen the burden of government. So the approach to doing that is to understand what the city's priorities are and then to figure out ways to mobilize the community on how to do that. That calls for transparency and working collaboratively with the city and with city staff as we go. We have tried things, as you would in any period of continuous improvement, at getting things going, and what we have settled on that works best is an approach that's grassroots up, as opposed to trying to make a big splash. And so those grassroots efforts are being organized into clubs, or you're going to hear a theme tonight about a pollinator. We've got some friends of our pollinators here in the audience with us tonight. So we've kind of settled on actually an acronym of a hive, but cluster of people working around one particular project. For us, it takes 10 individuals, 10 citizens, 10 neighbors getting together to get something going that gives us the momentum to be able to get to a next step. So we have a very clearly defined process on how to organically seed an idea, and there's lots of ideas coming our direction. It's also very important to us. Small business is critically important to this community, and so we are actively working to cooperate with those local businesses. An example, we've got our representative, our friends from Casbah here. So instead of these groups meeting at the library where we could any time, we're actually meeting inside of the small businesses, introducing people to them. And we're spending a lot of time with some great coffee down the street for that reason here. But integration with the small business and us spreading throughout the community is an essential part of how we intend to grow. So to be very specific about the things that are going on inside of our community right now, we've centered on two city council priorities, expanding community engagement and safe routes to school. I'm going to touch, just jump in whenever you, Melissa's got all the details here, all right? So one of the activities, the idea of a neighborhood council is something that will intend to start in the September-October timeframe. If you look around the Oldsmar itself, there are several dozen different neighborhoods with their own different characteristics. And some of them are have homeowners associations and some don't. But we are putting together a council of neighborhoods. The idea there would be we would sit with a neighborhood representative and have facilitate a way for us to be able to communicate with those individual neighborhoods and have their voices heard. Because, as you know, it is much different on Shore Drive than it is at Tuscany Woods, right? So it's, but what we want is a community representation, and what I have learned consistently over the past couple of years is that there are many shades and perspectives on how we get things done, right? And so if we all work together, that's the spirit of the ONA, is to work together on those things. We also had a project going here around hurricane preparedness. We did have an event with almost 50 people at the library, supported by the city. Our fire chief was there, county was there, and is there a third one? And Mike from the weather page, right? It was outstanding, and frankly, I wish everybody could have been at that event. What came out of that, though, is that there's an opportunity for us to consider creating a CERT team inside of Oldsmar. That's a program that's already existing. I understand that it's expensive and takes dedication to do. But this is something that we're willing to get behind and explore. We'll come back and work with the city on a plan to see about its viability. But our being prepared is definitely something that we're willing to help with. There's a tremendous community support for the idea of making Oldsmar unique and us having the subject of the pollinator here. And as a matter of fact, the community seems to feel that this could actually be a differentiator for the city. We could be known for our ability to work with pollinators. So there are 4 things underway there right now. And Melissa, I'll ask you, why don't you just touch on how this is coming together?
So Rosie's Pollinator Garden Club started with Rose, my daughter, who's 5. She just loves flowers and wanted a garden. So her little idea sparked this much bigger idea. So we planted a pollinator garden in my front yard. It's in the shape of a butterfly. And we are having bees from all over come. And we count the bees and we count the butterflies. If you look on our Facebook page, you'll see updates about the flowers and how it's going. We would love to see these pollinator, like the Rosie's Pollinator Garden, in every neighborhood in Oldsmar. It's inexpensive, it's easy to do, they're very easy to maintain, even through this heat. My flowers are still blooming. Some are a little scorched, but for the most part, they're still blooming. And what's really cool is that my neighbor, Carrie, who's here, has bees in her yard. So we're getting her bees come over, and we're getting Allie's bees that come over. So it's really kind of neat to sit and watch and see how this has developed. The Beekeepers Club, so we do have local beekeepers in Oldsmar. Allie is here. We also have Tina Marie, who's with the Women's Club. She's also a local beekeeper. And I think there's some more. I know that these 2 lovely ladies back here have also jumped on the bee bandwagon and are supporting that as well. Bees are very important to our ecosystem, and without bees, we would only last for 4 years. So that's how we get fruits and vegetables, and that's how our plants grow. And our idea is to have a Rosie garden in all of the neighborhoods in Oldsmar. We would love to explore having them in common areas as well, that is owned by the city. And then also, we are starting a butterfly garden at Oldsmar Elementary School with Ms. Kerberger and Mr. Logan. They have agreed to let us come in and help out through the Beautification Club. So any student that's in beautification will have an opportunity to also work and tend and help with that garden.
So associated with each of these is a plan for maintenance. This has to be self-maintained, but the experience is going to end up being flowers, pollinators, bees, butterflies, and those types of things. Honey being produced. We've got the advice of experts here. and a lot of community interest in it for something that should be pretty and something that we will help organize. Okay, the other program that we're supporting is the Safe Routes to School endeavor. And this, in my opinion, is a good example of us working together. So this is a major initiative by the city that will be long in coming. Our role is to have something happen right now, and that happening right now is around the three things here. So I'll let you talk about that.
The walking school bus is my baby, as I like to say. We are officially starting on September 5th. We're going to start at Oldsmar Library. If anyone is interested in volunteering or having their child join, they can contact me at melissa@oldsmarneighbors.org. We're also going to be at Oldsmar Open House on August 23rd, so registration will be open as well. There will be level 2 fingerprinting at Oldsmar that night, so if anyone is interested in volunteering, you do have to be a level 2. You can get your fingerprints done right then and there and fill out those registration packets. Our goal is to lessen the amount of cars that's going to Oldsmar Elementary, especially from this side of downtown. So for anyone who doesn't know, if you live within 2 miles of the school, you are not provided transportation. You are required to get your own transportation, either walking, car, or a bike rider. For as long as I've lived here, it hasn't always been the safest. It's hot. But we are trying to get more kids that live over here to walk to school. And part of that is parents are busy, they don't have time. We, as the walking school bus, are offering to have you register your child. They then come, and there are designated spots along the route from down Dartmouth, then down Buckingham. We're using John and Stella, who are our crossing guards, as safety. There is training that is provided by Safe Routes to School through the Florida DOT. And we will safely get your kids to school in the mornings. So it's helping neighbors, it's lessening the burden, and it's also lessening that car line to try to get less cars so that it can go quicker. Also, it's helping the kids. I know we've been walking since January. It really does help get the wiggles out. It's great. We talk about pedestrian safety, car safety, bike safety. We meet people along the way. So many people go, "Oh, hi, guy." Like they recognize us that we're going every day. And in conjunction with that, the kids will earn miles and be part of the mileage club. We're also going to have the mileage club at Oldsmar in the afternoon. Anybody can participate. As long as you track your miles and give them to me, you can get the rewards. Eliza is my 3rd grader. She has raised over $1,000 in support of her mileage club, and that's going to go to the school store. So we're having a cashless school store. All you have to do is walk, earn your miles, and then once a month you can go and buy some really cool things. So she was able to do that. That was her idea. And that goes right hand in hand with the walking school bus. Getting kids outside, getting kids interested in exercise, getting them to have that healthy relationship with walking and movement is really our goal. And then Paint the Pavement. I know that Paint the Pavement is its own separate project, and I'm waiting very patiently for Joan and Jacob to get back to me. However, for us, we want to use Paint the Pavement to help map the way to school. So that's why we put it under Safe Routes. We want to have intersections on Park, Dartmouth, Chestnut, and Buckingham that are going to pave the way and lead the kids to school on the walking school bus route.
So you can assume that for every one of these projects, we've got 10 citizens. These groups are forming, self-forming, moving themselves forward here. And we want to provide that information to the city, but all these initiatives are moving independently. I would also say that given an example, there are a couple of scenarios. We're getting approached all the time with ideas from citizens, right? We'll curate those ideas and work, as to what we should and shouldn't do. There are things, though, that according to what our interpretation of some of the city guidelines here, if you don't have a 501c3, not-for-profit, you could ask the city for $100. Essentially, Eliza, got her project start by coming in front of this group here. So we're willing to match those kinds of small endeavors out there. We'll put our money where our mouth is on this. And also, if there are other initiatives that anyone here feels are deserving, then we can take that and run them under our umbrella. There's no sense in having another 100 501c3s in the area. So fundamentally, that's the way we see ourselves growing and working with the city council moving forward. Okay, that's our story. That's what's happening right now. And it's all goodness, and it's been a unifying force. We got people working on butterflies. It's hard to argue with butterflies and bees.
All right.
All
Any
right.
questions? Anybody? I just have, oh, go ahead, Vice Mayor.
got
Yes,
just-
go ahead. I
just
have a
a
comment
couple.
too after you.
Okay. So Vince, it sounds like that neighborhood council thing is kind of what you and I, a couple years ago at the outset
Yes.
of the ONA, was what was the original seed idea to try to take out there. So it's good to see that that still lives on. You mentioned with the Hives thing acronym, is there an actual acronym for Hives, or was that just?
No, it's just, it's a,
We're working
It's
on
a-
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it, though.
For you.
It's great. I was just going to offer up a little
Do you have one?
tidbit, but with the, no, I don't.
I wouldn't be
I
surprised
wasn't,
if you
wasn't
did.
thinking about the acronym, but it's really great to hear about the butterfly garden at the school. But 20 years ago, when I did my Eagle Scout project, was actually to refurbish the butterfly garden back then that was out at the trail. So it's great to hear that maybe this time, if it gets brought back up to standard, that it'll stay put because it had gone into disarray, and then we went out there, fixed it up, cleaned out the trail, and then moved on to college, and from there kind of went back. The
We're
last thing was
acutely
just
aware,
about,
by the way, of Forest Lakes. This needs to grow to both elementary
Sure.
schools. Yeah, so I don't want. anybody
the last
excluded.
thing I was just curious about with the walking school bus, Melissa, is there, for the littlest of ones, are you taking all children that go to the school, including like the VPK and 3PK?
Yes, we are. We
Okay.
currently have 4 volunteers, including myself. The older kids, through the state guidelines with Safe Routes to School, that's what I'm working from. So it's all through FDOT. I'm going right down their bullet list. And the little ones will have 2 adults with them, and we will take them right to the front of the school and drop them off with their class, because as a mom of a pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 for the past 2 years, I know how crazy that can be. So yes, we are offering it to pre-K. And then we just ask that the older kids that are joining are respectful, and that everyone is, but that they help out. We are looking for some patrols that are in 5th grade to kind of help along with this as well, that are going to walk with us, because they can also kind of be our eyes and ears. They have that belt and they have a sense of power, so they want to use it for good. But yes, we are offering it to pre-K as well.
Great, thanks.
All
That's
right.
all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. So, 2 things. The walk to school. I was there Monday for waving the signs to drive
Yes.
safe. So I decided to count. I only counted 10 children walking
Yep.
and 4 on a bike. So there wasn't really many people walking to Oldsmar Elementary when I stood out there waving my
We're
sign.
working on it.
Okay, I just wanted to give that feedback to you. Plus, there was a lot of cars. I mean, the cars were all backed up all the way
Yeah.
down St. Pete Drive and both ways.
Yes,
Okay.
so we're trying to get the word out. There's a lot of, people are hearing about it, they're getting excited. Summertime is a hard time to get people on board with things because they're out of town. They're like, oh, it will start it when we start. So that's why we moved the date back to September 5th to catch more families. We are, as I'm walking to school, with Ginger can attest, we are catching people and saying, hey, we're starting a walking school bus, and giving the information that way. And then on August 23rd, I will be there with ONA, actively promoting and discussing and registering kids for the walking school bus.
Well, even
We
when the
want to
co-
lessen that car line.
even when the cars come in, you can give them a little flyer so you
Yep.
can promote it, because I think there's a lot of parents there who will want their kids to walk.
Yes, I think so
Okay.
too.
The other thing is, I have a garden
Mm-hmm.
at my house that's been there for, I don't know, 15 years. I've always wanted to plant flowers, so maybe you can help me with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's ready to go. You just need to come put flowers and butterflies and
All right.
bees. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the idea of the pollinator garden, is to spread that across Oldsmar, with each of us doing a little thing and making
Yep.
this, a
I've had no
continuous
luck
garden.
growing flowers, so maybe you can help me.
I'm learning too. This is, my mom is like, she's the one that's helping. And
What?
and she's the one that will be doing it at the school. So when everyone will be invited when we break ground for that. So we want
Good.
to make it an event. And also, just so you know, Pinellas County Schools media is very interested in our walking school bus and Safe Routes to School initiative. So I'll be working with them to get a story on the walking school bus and Eliza's Mileage Club. And Eliza's very excited because she gets to be interviewed too. So
Well,
that
the-
will be.
The Mileage Club is the incentive to get the kids to want to walk.
Yeah.
So there's a carrot here
I
for
like
them.
it. All right, well, thank you so much for that presentation and keeping us updated. And thank you for all you do for the city of Oldsmar. We're very grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks
All
a lot.
right.
Nice.
Next item on our agenda is our city attorney, Tom Trask. You have anything?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right, then next we got our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Good evening. Approve the special event application fee waiver request for Oldsmar Cares Oldsmar Rod Run event to be held November 4th, 2023. On Saturday, November 4th, Oldsmar Cares will host the Rod Run Car Show at Ari Olds Park. The event includes classic, exotic, performance automobiles, as well as musical, entertainment, and food vendors. It's anticipated to bring about 600 participants and spectators to Oldsmar. By hosting fundraising events such as this, organization is able to provide many support programs to the community. In accordance with our special event guide, Oldsmar Cares is requesting a fee waiver in the amount of $880. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is item 8, and,
Seven.
oh, I'm sorry, item 7. Kristen Garcia, city clerk. Sorry, thank you, Tom.
Item 7, schedule a visioning work session on October 18th, 2023 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. to establish the city's new strategic vision and fiscal year 2024-2025 goals and priorities. Strategic government resources will facilitate a council work session to establish the city's new strategic vision and council's fiscal year 2024-2025 goals and priorities. The work session will be located in the council chamber here at 101 State Street West, Oldsmar, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. The following date of October 18th, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is being presented for council's consideration. And just to note that the public visioning meeting portion will be held on the evening of October 4th, 2023 for the public.
Wonderful. Is everybody okay with the 18th? Do we have any conflicts? All right, and then it's the 18th. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we're on item 8, discussion of teen council. Councilmember Jared Bruckman brought this up at last meeting to put it on the agenda, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got the floor for a very short period of time. I've had discussions with the city manager and city clerk in regards to this today, and there's several ideas going back and forth. I want to hold off on this,
Okay?
punt this to Kristen. Did you have any comments on this today? Or do we want to move this to a later date? I think we want to move it to a later date.
Okay?
That's fine.
Okay, I just have one. Does anybody have any other comments for Jared? I have a comment if anybody wants anything discussion. No? So when I was at the Florida League of Cities, I met with, I had dinner, and Andrew was with us at dinner. Mayor Scott from, forgot what city he was, but what he did is he has every once a month on a Thursday night, he'll be like at Buffalo Wild Wings. And he invites teens to come out, and what he does is he promotes public speaking, talks about city council, what our priorities are, and he goes to the high school, and he tries to get kids involved, and he buys them chicken wings. And he's been doing it for 20 years. So I just wanted to share that with council. It's an idea. That's something that we could maybe do something like that, where one of us could go each month, where we don't have to just one person goes. We could divide it up and maybe work with the high schools to get kids in and talk about public speaking and, even how to do your checkbook or how to be successful, how to get, where you're heading in your life. What are your goals? It was a very touching dinner that when he said that, I mean, you remember that, Andrew? Were you there? Yeah, and I was really, really into the conversation. So I wanted to share that with council. It might be something that we want to bring up for a later date. All right?
Thank you, Mayor.
Do you want a motion to table it or
Yeah,
postpone to a date certain?
motion to table this to a future date. I'm not sure just yet until we have a discussion with
So moved.
Felicia and
Okay, I
Kristen.
got a
about
motion. How about a second? Motion to table it.
To table it.
Table it.
It's not a date certain. It's not postponement.
Okay.
So
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Man, we're moving along. Item 9, council comments. First one on the agenda is Councilmember Jared Buckland again.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. A little bit of news coming out of Fort Pinellas. We had a meeting after our budget meeting the following day. The current apportionment plan that's going to go to the governor's desk, hopefully for signature, is going to change our seat a little bit. I've talked about this a few times, but it's now been voted on by the board. Oldsmar and Safety Harbor will share the seat still. We'll have 3-year terms instead of 2-year terms, and Tarpon will basically get their own seat. So we'll have a little bit more representation. However, I think I don't know if you've been reading the recent news about the regional MPOs and things we're looking at. This might be obsolete by that point in time, but we'll have to see. Secondly, city staff, manager, I've heard all about the waving signs. I was not able to attend for the kids going to school, walking to school. My wife said it was great. She saw a couple of you out there as well. If you didn't get a chance to see the budget meeting, you're missing out on an opportunity. It was a great meeting. It was really late that night when we got done, but I just want to thank city staff again. I thought it was an amazing job to get that done, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. You had brought up the Florida League of Cities Conference. I just wanted to kind of touch on that and recap a couple highlights or interesting things of note from some of the sessions that I attended. As it's probably no surprise to anyone, property insurance session was rather sobering sitting there and still kind of overwhelming to understand all the reasons as to why things are the way they are right now. It was so much focused on commercial and municipal buildings versus, of course, everyone there wanted to know about their own houses, and they didn't really spend a whole lot of time on that, and didn't touch on things about tort reform with how, lawsuits about roofing and whatnot and litigation there. So it's definitely still a mess, and it seems to, from between that and when we attended that resiliency summit a little while back, that for the next, they're saying kind of 18 to 24 months to not really expect anything to get any better. So that's the bad news. The good news, the couple other things I attended was a session on smart growth. There was an example of a parcel that was abutting or even partially overlapping to where most of it was unincorporated versus some incorporated, and some of the levers that they pulled there in order to pull this together and kind of address the concerns of the areas surrounding this undeveloped parcel, so much including that there was essentially an enclave in the center of it because it wasn't a contiguous parcel, and kind of the creativity that they had to ensue there to enable them to ultimately develop that project. So I'm going to pull that up and make sure I can share that with our city manager so we can continue to learn and see the opportunities there. And then the one thing that was most exciting about that I'm eager to share with Felicia and can tell you all about a little bit, there's a company called Freebie, and they offer, they contract with cities, other forms of government, and provide, through a service, free electric vehicle transportation, kind of like Uber without paying for it, depending on how you set up the thing. So it could be to service a particular neighborhood or to service for special events. So the city of Dunedin actually will be launching a program kind of in a similar vein to what they did with the Ava autonomous bus, but instead of it just going straight up and down, it's going to be doing a circulator loop. So I think they're tentative to kick that off either in September or October. So I got a chance to talk to some of their staff out there at the conference and learn. Like I said, I'm gonna be watching closely because it's just something really exciting. And they started out down South Florida, and there's well over 24 different communities that they're now serving. So it really seems to be blowing up, and you can call a ride from an app. You can still wave it down like a taxi if you see it on the go. So really interesting, and looking forward to just kind of seeing what our neighbor next door does and how they interpret it and go from there. The only other thing I had is just wanted to pass along to the council as well as our city manager that my employer is having a grand opening for the expansion work that they've been doing for the past, it's hard to keep track now at this point, Yeah, we broke ground on the first phase in 2020 and finished up the second phase earlier this year. So we're going to be kicking off with a grand opening of the Pizza Cafe. There'll be some gelato, games, putt-putt, and more. So it will be September 22nd from 12 to 3, and I will make sure that you all get formal invitations from my employer directly. So with that, that's all I have.
Great
Thank you, Mayor.
update. I talked to the people from Freebie. That's
Great.
really a great program. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, next we have Councilmember Steve Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing. I just want to say that over the last 2.5 years, it's been quite an honor and privilege to serve the citizens of Oldsmar. And 'tis the season, Vice Mayor, but re-election season is fast approaching. Just wanted to make sure that I announce my intention to seek re-election to seat 1. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Good. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Katie Gannon.
Whew. I've been trying to keep my head above water today, Mayor. It's just been one of those days. A couple quick things. Thank you to the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association and our pollinator and beekeeper experts for coming out tonight. It's great to see all of you. Thank you for everything you're doing at Oldsmar Elementary as well. I have, kids at Oldsmar Elementary, so I get to sort of particularly benefit from that, which is really nice. I can't wait to see what's to come over at Forest Lakes, but absolutely looking forward to that. If you are using the new car circle at Oldsmar, please don't go back down Federal and try to exit the way that you came in. No. So when you enter the car circle, there is a little bit of backup happening onto St. Pete Drive. It always happens though at the beginning of the school year, right? It's always slow at the beginning of the school year. You got a whole group of new parents, maybe who have come from other places. You've got parents delivering kindergartners who perhaps weren't in car line before. So if you are coming into the car line, and if you're a new parent, it's not me, you guys, I swear. I am always right behind the car in front of me, never on my phone, never. But it will get a little bit better, but it does get very dangerous when people try to come back out onto St. Pete Drive, because you got people making left turns from St. Pete Drive onto Federal and people making right turns from St. Pete Drive onto Federal. And so when a car tries to come back out that way, then you've got 3 sets of traffic trying to turn over the top of that crosswalk where kids from Aventine or other areas on the south side of St. Pete Drive are trying to get to school. There's not many walkers yet, but do keep in mind that the first 2 days of school, so last week, parents are permitted to walk their kids to the classroom. It's kind of like a nice thing where you can, drop your kid off at the door. So the car line will get better, and more people will start to walk and explore different, ways to get to school, and open house is a great opportunity for people to learn more. The meet the teacher thing, that's the first couple of days of school, is a little bit, here's some paperwork, it's good to see you, and move on, but there'll be a lot more information. So the Forward Pinellas School Transportation Safety Committee meeting is coming up soon, so I will bring back some additional information there. COVID's still a thing. I know Councilmember Buckman recently had, I don't know if it touched your family or someone near your family, but just FYI, COVID tests are sold out at all of our area, Walgreens, CVS's, and such. So do remember to wash your hands. With everybody going back to school, honestly, I had kind of forgot about that COVID thing, and that might be coming back into my life soon, which explains why I was slightly tardy this evening. I do apologize for that moment of delay.
Fine.
Thank you. I'm sorry
fine.
about that. But in any event, and finally, thank you to our department heads, finance, administrative services, all of our staff, our city manager, our city clerk. The budget meeting last week was monumental in many ways, but it's never been more clear that the biggest asset our city has is our staff. And looking out right now, I only see a couple of them, probably because they're still tired. From what I understand, the city manager did let them come in at 8:15 the next morning, right? But it was 11 o'clock at night, and if you didn't get to watch the entire meeting through, your city's staff was here filled with pride, laughing, enthusiastic for each other and each department's presentation. It was really beautiful to watch. It was wonderful to see that level of collaboration and coordination and efficiency instantly generated among all departments and across all departments. So thank you guys all for that night. That was epic in many ways. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, I just have a couple things. Today, the PSTA was named Outstanding Public Transportation System in the nation, the whole United States. I'm not gonna say it's because of me, but I had a part of it. But it's also on the podcast. We just released a podcast today with Brad Miller from PSTA, and it's being published all everywhere. So that's a great congratulations to Brad Miller for winning that award for PSTA. That's wonderful. Congratulations. I want to talk about the Florida League of Cities. I met with the Florida Conference of Cities, the American Flood Coalition. I had a meeting with them, and I shared everything with Felicia today and Kristen in my meeting, and they gave me a thumbs up. There's no cost to become a member. They're looking into it, but we're going to check it out, and I'm sure Felicia will be sharing some information with you on this wonderful thing that's going to help us in the future if we have a catastrophic problem or situation. But they have investors who fund, so it's no charge to the city, and she'll be definitely giving you guys information, correct? Yes. All right. It's called the Florida Conference of Cities American Flood Coalition.
American
St. Petersburg is a member.
Coalition.
There's a lot of, and how I found out about it was I was hanging out with Woody Brown from the
Largo.
Him and I have been strategizing on how to improve our city, and he goes, you gotta come to this meeting. I go, okay. So he took me in and he introduced me to everybody, and it's a great opportunity for our city, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm sure Felicia will, once she does a little homework, we'll all know more about it, and I think you all will agree with me. Next item is the Suncoast League of Cities. I asked Andrew if he wanted to help me and take that over, and he said he's got his little kids. So I don't know if anybody else is interested, Steve.
I've got my little kids.
So I've been on it since
But-
2015, but if
Need to
anybody's
know-
interested,
I need to know the time commitment is what I can't just,
What are you asking?
of course,
I'm sorry.
I'd
I would
be
like
interested
to
to
still,
think about.
I'm a past president. I'm a past president, but I'd like someone in the city of Oldsmar to take over the role of that position, because I see opportunities from other cities that we're missing out on. Pinellas Park, Seminole, and I see other cities getting involved. And as a past president, I really can't, I've already done everything. So I'm looking for somebody on the council, if you're interested, to
I'm
nominate.
definitely interested. I just need to know.
Okay,
all the
yeah, that'd be
information,
wonderful.
The time
Because
commitment.
I go to some of the meetings, I still go because as a past president, but I'm not involved anymore. Now, I'm on the nominating committee. But I would really like to see, Katie, as you answer your question, I really would like to see someone from our city become the third vice president and move up to president, like I did. That's my really main goal. I would like to see one of the other council members. All right? And that's all I have. All right? Anything else? All right. Next item on the agenda is item 10, approve the tentative agenda for the September 5th, 2023 council meeting. Does anyone wish to pull or add anything to the agenda? All right. I need a motion.
Motion to approve tentative agenda as presented.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?